Hello, everybody, and welcome live. And first of all, I'd like to thank you for Stephanie and David joining me today. It will be a definitely interesting conversation about language learning and AI. So Stephanie, David, the first question is, could you please tell a few words about yourself and also Perfectly Spoken, the company you represent? What's the story behind it? So please tell a few words.
Absolutely. And thank you very much, Peter, for inviting us and for hosting this event today. I'm joined by Stephanie Marston, who will introduce herself in a minute. We're both from Perfectly Spoken. So I'm the managing director, the CEO of Perfectly Spoken. And basically, my life, my whole career has been involved in English language teaching and training from a very, very young age. And I started in Turkey, teaching, as many of us Brits do. We like to travel, and I learned how to teach English as a foreign language. I had an amazing time. I absolutely loved teaching. I taught the Turkish Air Force when I was at the age of 21, and it was such a wonderful experience. I just fell in love with teaching English as a foreign language, and then developed eventually my own company, which was all in person in schools, and really loved that. And then Perfectly Spoken was started 10 years ago because I felt we needed to move on with the times and develop an online learning and training platform. And we have been quite successful since then. I'll talk a little bit more about what we do in a minute, but let me introduce you to Stephanie Marston, our Head of Educational Content at Perfectly Spoken.
So hello, everybody. And again, I'd like to reiterate a thank you to Peter for this opportunity to meet all of you. Yes, so as David said, my official title is Head of Educational Content. So that means I have the super exciting and fun role of creating and designing courses for our learners. And learners are at the center of everything we do. We're always thinking about our students, ways we can develop new exciting material, and ways for our students to access this material as well. So a little bit of background, like David, I started teaching English overseas, but I think my interests kind of stemmed from being a language learner myself. I love learning languages. I'm not sure I've reached a particularly strong level at them, but it's certainly a process that I enjoy and that I'm very, very interested in. I'm interested in the mechanics of language, how we use language to communicate. And so I've traveled around the world teaching, and I've taught a wide variety of people in many, many different contexts. And it's from that background that I joined Perfectly Spoken in 2017, I believe it was. And since then, it's been such a fantastic process. If I look where we are now to where we were when I started, the evolution has been incredible. And I think we've learned a lot through the process, David.
Indeed. And I think today's conversation is more about that evolutionary process and how it is evolving still. But I think for us, the principal tenets of what we do haven't changed over the years. And hopefully we will still be able to adhere to them in time to come. And that is really, it's about, as Stephanie says, it's about the learners and supplying and dealing with student needs, but also about the teachers. We believe the teachers are today and will be in the future fundamental to any learning process. And that's why we are really excited about today's discussion, but also the opportunity that we have had already of working with Peter and Eduardo on this new course.
Yes, so thank you very much. I think it's also important to tell a few words about your platform, because that will help us to understand what interaction you have with students, what kind of students and learners, how many of them. Also, you give me some slides, so we can maybe present this. And please comment and tell a few words about the platform, and let me know if I need to change the pages.
Sure. Sure. So our approach is very much taking what we used to do in a school in person and then moving it online. So we have what we call an immersive approach. So we don't do translation. What we do is we have all our teachers are university graduates who have the highest English language teaching qualification and many years of practical experience. So they are experts in their field and they know how to grade their language, how to teach students at different levels. So on our platform, our primary focus is self-study. So we've got thousands of lessons, but our principal courses go from A1 to C2. However, I would identify that our average learner, if there is one, is an adult who is either learning or improving their English, either for study purposes or for professional, either for their job or to improve their job prospects. And what they are independent learners, and that is what we are very good at catering for. So what we provide is flexibility, convenience, and effective learning, but it's very much about teaching the student to take control of their learning. So what we offer is almost it's a hybrid approach insofar as we offer self-study courses that are accessed through our platform, and then on top of that we offer a number of live practice sessions where you, in most cases, you will actually learn and practice in sessions with somebody like Stephanie, who has also created her own course. So it's very much teacher-centric and student-centric.
And I think I'd just like to emphasize there that point that David made about learners taking responsibility. I mean, that's really, really fundamental. Obviously, the courses are there for you to access. We provide guidelines, there are structures, but at the end of the day, it is up to the learner to follow the path that they feel is suitable for them. We provide the guidance, we provide the support, we provide the opportunities to activate and to practice, but it's giving that independence to the learner. And also in terms of when they're accessing English, I mean, the courses, our key courses are pre-recorded, so you can watch them when you want. Not everybody studies best at the same time of day. So, you know, again, it's coming back to that sort of learner-centered, different learning styles. You access it when it's convenient for you, and you build your study program.
Yeah,
and I say that you have you have a lot of learners as the statistics show.
Indeed. And but I would say, you know, what possibly is our weak spot is that we don't really cater for beginner levels or students who have no English. We think it's quite difficult to embrace online learning if you are, and there are very few today adult students who are in that position, but certainly, you know, I think the vast majority of our students are sort of pre-intermediate level B1 plus and above. So yes, and as you can see from the statistics, we have over the years we've grown, so we've got about 700,000 individual users, and then we also now, over the past couple of years, this has really started evolving, is that we work with companies and organizations and non-profit organizations as well. So yeah, we have quite a large portfolio of companies that we work with as well.
Okay, and so these are just some other statistics, but meanwhile I'd like to ask you, and okay, you have connection to many learners, not all of them because it's hundreds of thousands, but what do you believe is the struggle for them? What do they miss now? I mean, what is the need? Why you also decided, despite having such an immense portfolio of courses, you still want to innovate something new? I guess there was a calling from the learners or something they needed.
I think that's a Stephanie question, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think one of the biggest challenges that learners face is a lack of regular exposure. lack of opportunities to practice, and also lack of opportunity to get real-time feedback. Of course you can self-study, of course you can do exercises, you can check your answers, but it's having that that exposure to English, having that feedback on what you're doing in a real time. And I think speaking to our students who come to the classes, you know, they're sort of embracing classes while they're there, but you know, it's not having that sort of consistent regular exposure, which is very difficult. You know, you're learning English, you're in your own country, perhaps you don't have the opportunity to use English at work, you don't have any English speaking friends. It's very difficult to have opportunities to activate what you're learning. So you often find students might have quite a strong passive knowledge, but in terms of actively being able to use it, having the confidence as well, because you know, you might know something and think it's right, but then having the confidence to use it, if you haven't done that, it's quite a big step. And I think making that step from a passive knowledge to active is something that many students find very challenging.
Yeah, and I to add to that, I think we have the perennial issues always of, you know, any adult has very little time, very little free time, and time is always an issue. So I think that's why, you know, the fact that people can study when and where they want is very helpful. And also that issue of motivation. Motivation is always a mega challenge. Whether you've got students in the classroom or out or online, it becomes even more challenging. And I think again, these are several things of why we are so happy to be involved in, you know, again, evolving the way that we work.
And that's the key word, isn't it, David? Sorry.
Okay. Sorry.
I was just going to say that idea of motivation and keeping students interested and motivated, because if you're not interested, you're not motivated, you're not going to continue. You will quit. You will give up. So, you know, it's constantly creating and looking at new ways of presenting courses, looking at different ways that students can access English that keeps that interest and motivation alive.
Yeah, and
I think the traditional approach is sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, Peter, on the previous slide that you were showing, because I think there are a couple of things there. Yeah, the fact that, yes, and we are very proud of this, that we did win because, you know, in the ed tech environment, we won the first digital education awards. We were one of the first to do that, and that was because of, I think, we were quite different in the way that we created our offer at the time, which in itself has now evolved. So yes, and we're very proud of the fact that the vast majority of reviews that we get on Trustpilot are 5-star, and we are an accredited body. And I think, again, that's important. It's reassuring for the students, it's reassuring for us, so that we know that we are creating quality content for students.
Okay, so managing our topic, because time is flying, I like to come to the point and start to talk a little bit about AI and what it means for language learning. Because of course, we will always need some kind of traditional classes. We will always have some format of traditional, like pre-recorded lectures. But how do you see what AI is changing? I mean, this is with us now for many months. What was your initial feeling? What is your feeling now? And then we will go into our exact case quite soon, but the general feedback regarding this, if you please.
Yeah, I mean, we've been aware for ages about what is happening in certain things that are happening in AI, and certainly working with you, Peter, has opened our eyes enormously. But, you know, of course, we're aware of virtual reality, augmented reality, gamification, if you like, and the importance of including that in our courses that we are planning to do, that we will be planning to do. But also there are other trends, I think, that should be highlighted as well. Of course, during the pandemic, we went from virtually everybody in person to virtually everybody doing distance learning. And then there was a reaction afterwards against distance learning, possibly because it wasn't terribly good at the time, to in person again. And I think the future is neither. It's a combination of both. It will be, a hybrid, a kind of hybrid, and a blended learning. It must be the future for learning, for education. And another approach that we try and adopt at Perfectly Spoken is the flipped learning approach, that whereby the courses, the lessons are already there, and we encourage the student to study the lesson before they come to the live practice sessions, so they get more out of that live practice session. So there are trends that we have tried to embrace, because basically the more interaction you get, the better engagement and the better outcome there is for the students. And that's always been at the center of our philosophy for teaching.
Stephanie?
And I think also, from a content point of view and a pedagogical point of view, the idea of being able to have more personalized learning paths is something that's very, very interesting. And I think that's something that, is obviously of great benefit to the student, because the content isn't static. The content evolves based on your strengths and weaknesses, which are analysed. And content can be created based on your interests or your job needs. If you're struggling with a particular grammar point, more exercises can be generated on that. However, if you're finding it very easy, you can be challenged with some different style of content. And I think that idea of not having static content and content that is personalized for learners, I think that's very exciting.
Okay, and not a secret, we co-design a course brand new, right from scratch. And what made you do that, and why negotiation was put into the focus?
David, would you like to start with this?
Why did we do it? Because I think we've already.
Why did we do it, David?
Answered that because we saw an opportunity. We love experimenting, and it was a real honor and a privilege to meet you, Peter, at BETT with these wonderful ideas about AI and what you already do in terms of simulation, and then to have that opportunity where we could contribute to this, where we did a joint course where we put our teaching hearts, heads, souls into the course, and we have you and your company doing all the simulation, the AI backup, to create what we think is a fantastic product.
I hope that others will find it as well. But why negotiation? Why the topic is that you selected or suggested this negotiation?
Yeah, I think when you say the word negotiation, people think of negotiation in business contexts. But I think the key thing we shouldn't forget is that it's not just in business contexts. We negotiate all the time. And a lot of the skills that would be encompassed with a negotiation course can be applied in so many different types of contexts, in your personal life, in day-to-day interactions socially, as well, of course, as in work context. So I think as an umbrella topic, negotiation is a really interesting one in terms of appealing and being of practical use to a lot of different people. In terms of content, it's quite an exciting topic because there's lots of different areas. We limited ourselves to 10 lessons. We could have done more. But again, thinking about having that variety of content, because you don't just want 10 lessons packed with grammar. You want vocabulary, you want expressions, you want case studies, you want practical language. And I think what we've managed to achieve in the course is a package of all of that can be of benefit to many different people in different contexts, not just specifically in what we might think of as a sit-down, face-to-face negotiation.
Yes, and I think a negotiation also is a special case because there you need kind of a communication. Of course, if your teacher is always available and you have an ongoing conversation and even role playing, then you can have a good negotiation exercise. But come on, facing the teacher is limited. How many hours you can arrange for yourself by that schedule, or financially also what is available for you. But learning negotiation just from videos or texts is not really effective. So I think I can tell that one of the targets we had is to mimic those dynamism of negotiations, so you can have kind of conversation held by AI, which makes it interesting and lifelike.
Absolutely. And I have to say, one of the most exciting moments was when I, because obviously we did a lot of testing with this, and when I trialed out the email exercise, I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I was blown away, because here we have you as the student, you're given the scenario, you write your email, and immediately you have a response. You have not only feedback on what you've written, but you've also got this simulated response from your boss in this situation, and it's really creating that real life situation that would be near to impossible to create in any other way.
So you're getting this personalized feedback, and also, of course, it's endless. You can just go back and create a different answer, and you will get other feedback, and it really, really does work. I was likewise blown away, because one of the things that when we were doing some testing, for example, was looking at some of the grammar, which actually wasn't perfect, and we thought, oh dear, this is going to be a bit challenging. And one particular issue we had was with the use of conditionals. And so we presented what was called a mixed conditional, which AI didn't recognize at that time. However, I went back and suggested that maybe the AI had got it wrong. And the time I went back, then it accepted that it had got it wrong, and it then recognized. So now it is perfect again. And certainly, I mean, any testing I've done, the grammar has been perfect, and the feedback is excellent.
Yes.
I think in terms of
Sorry, Stephanie.
Sorry, I was going to say, in terms of challenges with the course, a big challenge that we faced was understanding the potential of AI in this context, because obviously we wanted to maximize it. We wanted to use what we could to the maximum potential, but it really was for us understanding what that was and how that could be translated into meaningful exercises. And I'm using the word meaningful because it's something that at Perfectly Spoken we're really hot on, is creating real life meaningful scenarios for students to work with.
Okay. Meanwhile, I put it onto the screen, and so you can have an insight into the structure, and I like to.
So also, hopefully, as it's loading, you'll notice that accompanying each video lesson are extra practice activities, and again, that's something that's really crucial in terms of reinforcing what you've looked at, what you've studied. You need to do it. You need to actively do the exercises, try the activities, take part in the exercises.
What I like to tell is that we made a decision of all the content for this course is brand new, so we were not reusing past content you created for other courses. In every lesson, we have something like 10 minutes video. It's a traditional part, where you, Stephanie, you talk about the concept. So it's a structured way in 10 steps about the topic. It's not just random. And that's the foundation of that particular lesson. And then there are several exercises. Some of them are fairly simple. You know, you make you fill up open elements of sentences, and you get an immediate feedback. Some others are you construct text, and then you are evaluated. So it couldn't be done in a traditional quiz, because their AI is used to evaluate your sentences or words. And of course, we started to operate with videos. So there are several video and audio exercises. By the way, there we also use AI characters. Peter, I think that you were surprised that what's the quality of AI created people.
I was very surprised at the quality of these audio recordings. they again, very impressive, and with the different accents. So one of the hardest things for us is to expose English language learners to different accents, English accents, whether they be regional or even American versus British. And through Peter, we were able to do that, and it's very, very, very good.
Yeah, I can't emphasize that enough. I mean, that is a huge challenge, isn't it? And you will find that students get very accustomed to their teacher's voice. And so listening comprehension, for example, can become very easy. And of course, that's not real life, is it? Because you're talking to different people, not necessarily face to face. So having this option of AI with different voices, different accents is absolutely, that was a real plus for the course.
But the interactive parts, I think that you said you enjoy the most. I mean, when you are in a conversation, we decided to have it in written. I come back at the very end. What was the reason for that? But it's not simply just submitting something, but you also got into a conversation and it goes on. It remembers. I can tell that we had a lot of struggle with that, because I always tell that when we work with AI, it's not coding. There's no exact thing, so it's a little bit artistic way of how you make the prompt so that it reflects back as you expected. So typically these are quite long ones, specifically if it's a longer conversation, to make sure that the dynamism is in line with what we expect.
One of the things that we learned and through collaborating, working with you, Peter, was it was a very steep learning curve for us, especially for Stephanie, because we hadn't done anything like this before, and actually understanding what was possible. Every time we tried something new, it seemed it was possible. It was soon possible. So again, that learning process helped us, and has actually given us foundations for many future courses and much more collaboration, we hope.
Exactly, because it comes back to that original thing, doesn't it, David, that we were saying about students wanting real-time feedback, and being able to get that, which is a challenge. It's one of the challenges they face. And having that, you send an email, you immediately get a reply, not just with comments about your email, but something else for you to work from. And so it's creating that real life scenario.
Yeah, and I would one word of warning, of course, and Stephanie and I were discussing this before, because it's something that's happening in the classroom. Is, of course, many possibly younger adults are just turning to OpenAI or whatever to do their homework for them. And of course, we all accept you can cheat any system if you want to do, but you're not going to learn. And of course, we have built this in as well. And if you want to cheat, then you can. But what's the point of doing the course? So it's best to approach it honestly and do your own work, and then you will get the feedback and you will learn.
Okay, so in a summary, I think we are somewhere at a stage where it's the current, what we could do, we did with this course, but life is not stopping. I think a month from now, there will be new elements. So that's one message of this doing anything with AI, a combination that it's really speed changing word. But at least we had a chance to do something new, put with little elements. It's still micro-learning. So if you come and you make just one exercise, you can continue later. You can reopen it and progress with that. This is why somebody asked me, okay, how much time is recommended for that? I say 3 months. Not that it couldn't be done in few hours, but there's no point of rushing with language learning. There's absolutely no point of doing that. So it goes if it goes deeper inside you and you practice it properly.
Absolutely. You need that practice. Absolutely. I mean, I think that research has been done that if you meet a new word, a new word or new expression, you need to encounter it 7 times statistically before it becomes part of your vocabulary. So you can't just see something once and then it's part of your English. You need to see it, you need to use it, you need to read it, you need to enter it into a gap fill. And that's why we're really hot on these sort of extra practice activities that encourage you to use the language that you've seen, the language that you've heard, because it's consistently reinforcing it, and eventually that will become part of your English.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so
at the moment,
so we made a link.
Yeah.
Sorry, David, finish.
Sorry,
Please.
yeah. You've got Peter's put the link for, but I'm just saying about the future, because I mean our fundamental belief is always that as teachers we will have work in the future. We believe the importance of human interaction, giving nuances, and the fact that in societal, however good AI is, we fundamentally believe and hope that that humans are always going to be essential for imparting education, but possibly not.
Of course, it's not realistic that somebody scripts it down this long link, so don't worry. We will copy it into both LinkedIn and YouTube, so it will be in a comment and you can copy out. This is a free demo, and you can try out. But what is not included? I can tell you one thing is conversation orally, because we decided that although some technology supports it, but at the current stage it was not stable enough. But I think the future is that when there will be more API connections, similarly when you use the conversation on your phone with OpenAI, that I'm sure will come into language learning, and that will even further boost it, because the same situations could be created in a course and then you have a conversation. We are not very far from that, but we decided not to wait until it's fully available with this course. So the course is no live. But Stephanie, I'm particularly interested in how do you see the future? So is there any part of language learning which will be just, I mean, that's the end? Because some people told me that there's there's no reason to learn languages anymore, because you can use just a telephone to translate whatever you wish, and you don't need to have the knowledge. Is that right?
And that is a valid point, and I think some people will certainly do that. I think we can see it now happening. I see students that come to a centre that I work at, and if their English is particularly, well, if they don't feel it's strong enough, they will type something into their phone, use their voice translate, and use that. But at the end of the day, is that what your aim is, what your goal is? I mean, if you're thinking about communication, building bridges with people, learning about other cultures, expressing yourself, do you really want the voice to be from an AI generated voice on your phone? So I think, yes, there will always be people that think that, like as David said, people will use AI to cheat, to write their essays. If their goal is just to hand in a perfect essay, then AI is perfect for that. But that's not everybody. And I think that's what we've got to realize, that there are people who will use it for the advantages and the benefits that it has, and it significantly does have benefits and advantages. So I think there's a whole range of people out there who will use AI in different ways.
And regarding, I mean, practicing negotiation, what would be, Stephanie, your recommendation? I mean, what's the best way of learning it? Okay, take this course, no question, but other elements, what should be practiced?
So I think hopefully, if you're watching this, we will have encouraged you to look at the course. Please do check out the demo where we've taken sample activities. But I think the thing is, with any course that you take, not necessarily specifically this one, but with any language course, it's about setting yourself realistic targets. I think when you're approaching something, saying I'm going to do 1 hour of study every day, that's potentially not a realistic target. So I think it's about thinking what you can do realistically and being consistent with that. And whether that's 15 minutes, whether you're watching one video and then doing a practice, but be consistent with it. So I think you need to think what your lifestyle is, how you're going to fit this into your life, and be consistent with that. That's a way to make progress, whether you're studying negotiation, whether you're studying meeting skills, cultural competence. I think whatever it is, you need to have realistic targets and you need to be consistent with them.
Yes, and also my recommendation would be is that if you learn a language seriously, yeah, have a teacher. It could be done online now. There's no need. For example, I learned Spanish, and my teacher's from Colombia, and we are already good friends. And of course, physically we never met, and presumably we'll never ever. But we meet every week, at least for half an hour, and that's great. But you cannot learn language from that, even if it's several times a week. So you need your own learning, and for that you need a kind of a course, either a book or an online course or a course like this we just shown. So that's another element. And the other thing is what is around us all the time. Right now, I would recommend of having conversation with AI as a third leg. So it's not replacing the other two I already mentioned, but it can help you to have to cover some weak spots or certain elements you are not that good at to further practice. So it should be a combination of these elements. And I think the course we did design together, that could be an important element, not covering everything, covering an important part and giving a structure, giving a beginning and the end, and providing the necessary steps to get on a higher level.
It is, isn't it? I think what it is, it's actually, again, it's our role as teachers is evolving. It's going to change again, isn't it? Because the focus will be different. We'll be guiding possibly more than giving that much input. It'll be a shift again. And I think that what you were alluding to, Peter, is about the social aspect, as Shella mentions there as well. Yeah, the social aspect of language learning. We can talk about emotional intelligence, cultural context, but it's all about human connection, or should be, as far as we're concerned. And those who don't want it, those people who have no need, then of course they can just use a machine, and why shouldn't they?
Okay, so we embraced
Absolutely.
AI. We think it's really useful, but it's not solving all our problems. But we
Agreed.
definitely need
tool
to integrate it into our everyday life, including language learning, and not be conservative and just reason why we are not using it. By the way, we are live for a few more minutes, so let's utilize it. We already got some comments. It's coming into our screen. This is why David managed to refer to Sheila about the social aspect. If you have any question to Stephanie, to David, or to me, just please message us, and we're happy to have a reflection. Meanwhile, just follow us on LinkedIn, both companies and us. And as I mentioned, we will copy the demo link. And also, if it's burdensome, just send us a message and we send it to you directly. David, can you tell a few words of where this course is available or will be available?
Well, as I understand it, it won't be available quite yet, but it will be coming very, very soon. But what is available, of course, is the demo lesson. So please, please, please do try and give us your feedback, because that would be very useful for us for this course and for the future. But you will be able to purchase it through the web shops of both companies, of Eduardo and Perfectly Spoken, which is coming very soon as well. But
it's very soon, because it's just the final steps we are making. For the audience, we didn't want to wait until it's ready. We have the demo ready and the product is ready and the topic was given, so we wanted to share it. I don't see exact questions other than the previously received arriving. Is there anything we were not touching yet? Any comment from your side, Stephanie, David, before
I think I just wanted to say that it is exciting times, and I think that this course has been a pleasure to work on. It's been challenging in a good way. I think it's pushed us to see how AI can enhance the experience for learners, and that is eye-opening. And I think Perfectly Spoken, we aren't standing still. We always always interested in different ways of approaching course creation, different ways of presenting the content, and different ways that students can access the content. And I think anything that we can do that makes this more efficient and effective is something that's very interesting for us. So it's been a really positive experience.
I think so, and I would echo that on a more corporate level. What's been a wonderful experience for us is because we are a remote company. All our teachers work effectively from home, from their home office, and so does everybody who works in the company. So and we always come together online, and so we've now adapted, we've now embraced Eduardo, and we've had a wonderful working experience with them as well. And that's one of the joys, I think, of working remotely. And thank you for your support and help, Peter.
Thank you for the opportunity to work together. It was wonderful few months, and now it's great to see that there's a birth of a product, a jointly created product. I hope our visitors today or listeners will experiment with that, and definitely we are not going to stop here. So we have plans for other courses. And not forgetting the audio element. So whenever we feel technology is stable enough, we will integrate such elements as well. So Stephanie, David, thank you very much for joining today. And this is now end of the session. And learn languages.
Absolutely.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you for joining.